Hi Flosstube, I'm Michelle, the elementary stitcher, and this is Flosstube 5. Thank you so much for joining me today. I just want to take a minute and say thank you to my viewers, to the people who have been liking and subscribing to my videos. It means so much to me. And the comments, I have loved reading the comments. In my last Flosstube, my daughter Annalisa was on with me, and she asked for some of your suggestions and advice in picking a pattern, just a quick, colorful pattern that she could finish while she was home before going back to college. And you all did not disappoint, and we appreciate that so much. We had such fun looking through some of your comments, and just she just was amazed by all the different options out there. But she did choose one, and she started it. She ordered the pattern, and it came Friday, and so she started it this morning. We got her some fabrics and some floss, and she got to it. So she's working right now, but I thought I'd let her share with you the one she finally decided on. So I thank you for that, for your comments. Those were very helpful. Let's get into it. I have some finishes. I like to start with those. I've got previous finishes and a new finish. So let me start with the previous finishes. The first one I want to show you, and they all have to do with the 4th of July. You know, really, let's see, May, June, July. So in May, we have Memorial Day, June, Flag Day, July, 4th of July. So we can keep our patriotic things out just about all summer long. And so I don't have that many, but I'll show you just a few today. I'm going to save some for the next video too, but I thought I'd start with showing you a few today. The first two, well, three, all three of them were freebies. The first two I know where I got them from. The third one I don't. So these were all stitched years ago, and I found these patterns online. The first one is Plum Street Sampler. And I went to her website just this morning to make sure it was still available, and it is. There are so many free patterns out there. And I know Michelle from Mama Loves You GB often shares free patterns on her Flosstubes, and she points us in the right direction. But this first one, they're very small, they're very tiny, so I think I need something to hold it. But this is by Plum Street Sampler, and it's Happy Birthday, Mr. President. So I'm hoping you can see. It's the world's tiniest pillow. Oh, goodness. Let's see. So I did it on Ada. It's just something I had that I pulled out to finish. So the cake is a little ghosty, but this is a cake. And George Washington is standing on top with a little flag. And I just fell in love with the pattern. But I finished it with a little bit of fabric there at the bottom and a little bow, and then the same fabric on the back. And I loved doing this. I wish I had two hands. Let me see. This was just such a fun stitch to do. And you know, I finished it in a day. I finished the stitch in a day. It was just really simple. And then I filled it with sawdust. I know a lot of Flosstubers I've heard fill pillows with walnut shells, and I love the heaviness, the heft it gives to the pillows, but my daughter is allergic to tree nuts. Not peanuts. She can have those, but walnuts, pecans, cashews, Brazil nuts, all of those things. And so if she were to even touch that pillow with those walnut shells inside, it would not be good for her. So I fill it with sawdust, and then and on some of the floss tubes, I've seen ladies use both stuffing and sawdust. So I thought I might try that the next time, but honestly, it's the world's smallest pillow. And so I have it in this little bowl, and I wanted to show you this too because I love showing bargains. Down the road from us, they were having an estate sale, and I found this bowl there. Isn't it just so pretty? It just looks like it's broken glass, and it's got this beautiful handle, and it does have initials. AW are the initials on the handle. But you guys, look what's inside. My secret stash. So I just put, the pillow needed to be built up a little bit in here. So it's a great way to cover up my chocolates. Nobody thinks to look in here for chocolates. Anyway, that's how I put it in the house. But you know that what they say, hide things in plain sight that you don't want to be found. So I hide my chocolates in that little bowl. Anyway, so that's the first finish, teeny tiny. And my second finish is also small. It's another pillow, and this is a free pattern that I got from Scarlett House. And I looked on her website, and it's still available. So if you are interested, take a look here. But it's called Land That I Love, and I'm thinking this one will. There we go. It's a full coverage, so there's quite a bit of stitching here. But this is how I display it on this little tray. And I stitched this, it was probably Ada and just some floss that I had. Let me see if I can get it to focus. I'm telling you, it's the world's smallest pillow. It's Land That I Love. And I put this little trim around it. Oh, sorry about that. And then I just backed it with some denim that we had around the house. But I just love these little guys just to stick around in places. But yes, so I put it on this tray, and I have to tell you about my bargain. That bowl was like $2, and then this tray came from Goodwill. It was $3.99. I left the tag on because I love to remind myself about a bargain. But I have a little candy jar in here, and we just keep it in the entryway, and it's just so fun. And I do love the yellow jar with it. There we go. Or the yellow candy with it. But anyway, oh, and this jar that I got it at an antique mall. It's so pretty. It's got a green tint to it. My husband, he has directed so many plays for our schools that we've been at. And hang on, I just dropped my pillow. Let me grab that. Here, you know what? I'll just put those there. You can look at them. And so one year I was in charge of finding props for the plays. And so I went into this antique mall. I think we were doing Helen Keller. And I went into this antique mall looking for the old-fashioned glasses. And I came across that, I call it a candy jar. I really don't know if that's what it is, but it was only a few dollars. So of course I had to get it. So those were the two that I do know. They were freebies, and I know where those come from. This one, I don't know where, but it was also a freebie. I did not pay for this. And the frame I got at Goodwill, $1.99. Don't you love a bargain? Ah, I love a bargain. Okay, so here it is. I just call it America 1776. Maybe you know, maybe you know what it's called. But she's just so sweet. She reminds me of Betsy Ross. And then there at the bottom, so I just framed this myself and put it on sticky board. But I added 2 different ribbons. I layered the 2 different ribbons and then added this little button there. So, and that's another one. And we just keep it out on our, right now it's in the foyer area, but I just put it on one of these little stands. And she's our Betsy Ross. So there's that one. And then, so those were the previous finishes. And I have a few more patriotic finishes, but I thought I'd save those for next time. So y'all come back. Y'all come back so you can see them. You won't want to miss them. But my most recent finish was a stitched piece. I stitched this not too long ago. I think I finished it last summer, actually. So the stitched piece isn't that old. Trying to find here on my notes what it's called. Gentleman's Daughter by Plum Street Sampler. I just love the sentiment of this. This is from Pride and Prejudice. And if you're familiar with Pride and Prejudice, you know that Lady Catherine was talking with Elizabeth and just insulting her, you know, telling her how all the reasons why she should not be marrying Mr. Darcy. And Elizabeth's response was, he is a gentleman and I am a gentleman's daughter. So far we are equal. I love that. But anyway, so here is the stitch. I'll hold it back up first so you can see. So this frame I got at Goodwill for $3.99, and it had something inside it that had been professionally framed. So it's a very, very nice frame. And there's the saying. But I just took out what was in it and framed it myself. I just put the stitched piece on sticky board, and it's not perfect. You know, I'm sure you can see flaws, but I just love it. And it fit. I thought it fit the piece just perfectly. But it's one of those pieces that's been sitting. I have a drawer. Matter of fact, in this chest behind me, I have a drawer of finished stitched pieces that I just, you know, you finish stitching them and you just don't have the things to finish them, or you're just not ready to finish them, whatever reason. And so they just sit there. And that was this piece. It just sat there. Well, I finished about a year. It's been about a year. And I came across this frame and I just thought, oh, I wonder, you know, I wonder if that'll fit in. It did. It's just the perfect, put my face out of there, the very perfect combination. So, yeah, I don't know, there's just something about fully finishing something and being able to enjoy it on your wall. But I think this is probably one of my favorite finished pieces so far. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Maybe you've seen it on my Instagram. I don't know. I am the Elementary Stitcher on Instagram as well. So I have a couple of pictures on it there, but I just couldn't wait to share it. So I hope you enjoyed those. Okay, so I've come back to you. I wanted to put those things back away where they belong. And I want to move on to my whips. When I first started this YouTube channel, I was a monogamous stitcher mostly. I would stitch on something for a month or two before switching out to something else. And this past 2 weeks, I have stitched on more things than I think I've ever stitched on before in a 2-week time period. So I'm going to start with my Back to Homeroom Sal. Maybe you've heard of this. It's a stitch along put on by Sully Stitches and Christy from the Floss Boss and Cousins. And I've never ever joined a Sal before. This is the very first time. And I was a little late to the party, but I've made a good start, I think. So I'm going to show you that here in a minute. It's the middle of the day here. Do you guys ever get that middle of the day dip? I tell you what. So normally I will have a coffee in the morning before work. But then by 1:30, 2 o'clock, I just drag sometimes. And it's about that time. Anyway, that was a good sip. I hope you have a drink. What are you stitching on? Oh, that's what I love to know. Go ahead and leave a comment and tell me what you're stitching on. I just, I get so many wonderful ideas from those comments. Okay, stitch along. So this is called the Back to Homeroom Sal. And it speaks to me because I am a teacher. I teach 3rd grade, and right now we're on summer break, which we're all loving to the fullest. But every morning we say the Pledge of Allegiance, and so this one really spoke to me. But it's by Plum Street Sampler. I'm sure you've seen it, but I'm going to show it to you again. Here we go. The Pledge of Allegiance by Plum Street, and the pattern calls for eucalyptus, 36 count eucalyptus fabric. Well, I think they were out of eucalyptus when I was looking for the fabric, so I chose a Fiber on a Whim fabric. Let's see, I think it's called Silver Fox. Yes, Silver Fox by Fabric on a Whim, 40 count. And I love it. I've never stitched on this color before. I don't even think I've stitched on Fiber on a Whim before, but I love it. Let me show it to you, and then I have a couple of things just to comment about on this. But here's my start. And I just am so pleased with how the colors are showing up on this fabric. I just love it. But it's Silver Fox by Fiber on a Whim, 40 count. And I love the poppies on here. It's a well put together pattern. But anyway, there is a mistake, and maybe you already know of it. But we were rushing around like crazy people, I don't know, a week ago. I think I got this last weekend. And we went to our L&S, and I thought the L&S closed at 4. Well, it closed at 3, I think 3, yeah, and it was like 2:57. So we got there, and thankfully it was still open. But you know, you don't want to keep the owner any longer than necessary. So we were running around trying to get all the floss, that we needed in the fabric and different things. So I came to, on here, it called for Classic Colorworks Piney Woods. So I was looking everywhere, couldn't find it. Couldn't find Classic Colorworks Piney Woods. So in a hurry, we used AI. This is what not to use AI for. We used AI to find, a close comparison. And I know there are other ways to find good comparisons in floss, but we were in a hurry and flustered. And anyway, so for Piney Woods Classic Colorworks, AI told me to get Weeks Grassland, which is a beautiful color, but come to find out, it's nowhere near the color of Piney Woods. Piney Woods is not a Classic Colorworks color. It's a Gentle Arts color. So I didn't realize that until we got home, and I was watching Tara Sullivan's Sully Stitches, and she mentioned it, and I thought, oh, that's why I couldn't find it. But then I thought, I think I have that color. And sure enough, I went into my stash and I had Piney Woods. And I compared the two, Grassland and Piney Woods, and I thought, I'm not sure they're even close. And I'm going to show them to you and see what you think. Well, these are the colors. Well, let me just show you the two greens first. So these are the two greens. Let me get my board so it focuses on my paper. This one the darker green, this one right here is Piney Woods by Gentle Arts. And this lighter one is Grassland. I mean, honestly, would you say those are similar? Where did it go? I need another hand. Let's see. Piney Woods. Here it is. Piney Woods. Let me just show it. I've got to show it to you one more time, you guys. So what not to use AI for. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. I'll get this. Here we go. grassland right here. Focus. And piney woods. Not at all similar. Well, so the saga continues. By the time I realized that piney woods was a Gentle Arts color and I had it, I had, let's see, let me show you this again. I had the vine and the leaves stitched. This right here, this leaf is grassland. The rest of it is piney woods, the rest of the vine and leaves. Do you see the difference? So I pulled it all out because I love the darker green, especially on this fabric. So I pulled it all out, restitched it with piney woods, Gentle Arts, but I left that one leaf in because I wanted to, it's a story and I just love that. And I wanted to show you guys, but I also think I'm going to keep it in there because it's just, it's a great story, you know. I'll show it to you again. And I don't think the one leaf looks terrible. That's grassland. I just love stories like that though in stitching. So this leaf right here is the grassland and everything else is piney woods. But I just thought I'd pass along that information because maybe you weren't aware of the mistake, but it definitely says CC Piney Woods and it should be Gentle Arts Piney Woods. But I'll tell you, one of my favorite, and I love the cayenne on here. The cayenne is really beautiful, but I think my favorite color on this fabric is the Chesapeake. It's the blue, and I just, oh, it just looks so pretty on this silver fox, that Chesapeake. And I'm looking forward to using it some more as I get down there, but yeah. I love this stitch. I'm so glad that I did it. And you know, my very first project bag that I bought, and I was so excited because we were going away for 4th of July, and I thought, oh, I have an excuse to buy a project bag, and so I chose a patriotic one. It's kind of messed up a little bit. It's kind of wrinkled a little bit, but it's a dot dot goose, and I just love her bags. But it's a dot dot goose design. But look. Isn't that fun? And then the back is just, and then I went to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and I found this little, it's like a little caravan zipper pull. Oh, isn't that just sweet? So that's what I'm keeping it in. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun to do a sal. If you've never done one, I encourage you to do one because it's so fun. You kind of feel like you're stitching together, you know, because you get on there and you put your hashtag on and you can see what everybody else is doing and the progress they've made. And many people are very close to finishing, if not done already. But I don't know if I showed you all these colors. But this is the beautiful Chesapeake. And I do love the cayenne. The cayenne is so variegated. But that blue in there, oh, where is it? That's the cayenne in the Chesapeake. Where's my board? Let's see, this is cayenne. And I don't know if the variegation is if it picks it up on and then the blue is the Chesapeake right here. And then, of course, the piney woods. Oh, but they just look so nice on that silver fox. And I have a big enough piece that I'll be able to stitch other things on it, I'm sure. I'll have quite a bit left over. So anyway, that was a good purchase. I just, you know, I don't purchase, usually I purchase neutral colored fabrics. And so purchasing one that's more colorful is a little bit, I don't know, scary. I don't know. It shouldn't be, but it is. Oh, and here's the grassland. I'm sure I'll use this for another project, but what a story. Okay, so I worked on that quite a bit. And that, I don't even think I had started that for the last Flosstube. But, oh, don't forget to take a zip. I'm already feeling better. I'm already feeling more awake. Okay, here we are. Okay, so the second one, I've been working on a Christmas stocking for my daughter, Annalisa. She's our youngest. She's will be a senior in college this next school year. And years ago, and I shared this on my first or second Flosstube, years ago, I stitched stockings for my husband and my older two children and kind of petered out after that. And so my dear Annalisa Grace did not have a stocking and has not. What we bought some at Walmart, so she's had a stocking, of course, but not a homemade stocking. And so I thought, well, it's never too late, you know, so I'm gonna stitch her one. And she is very musical. She loves to play the piano, and in high school she played the flute. She's a beautiful voice, and so I thought, well, this stocking will fit her nicely. And so this is the book that it's in. It is an older book that I found. I had it years ago and got rid of it, and I found it recently on eBay. Better Homes and Gardens Heirloom Christmas Stockings. And so the one that I'm stitching for her is this one here. It's called The Music Room, and it's just beautiful. And I will say there are so many quarter stitches and tons of back stitching, but it is a beautiful stocking, and when it's all said and done, it is well worth all of that. But I started in the middle, which the middle was somewhere around here. And you really, on this type of pattern, you really don't appreciate it, I guess, until the back stitching is in. And I haven't put any back stitching in yet. And I have quite a few hanging threads, but that's okay. But I feel like I got a good start on this. And I went ahead and did it on Aida, because the others were done on Aida, and I wanted it to kind of look like a set. So this, I thought this was oatmeal Aida, but I think it's just natural Aida. But I will show you, trying to get these hanging threads out of the way. This is what I have done so far. So it's just the window, some ribbons hanging down here, and there are a couple instruments up here. Once it's done, it really is going to be so pretty. And I think I will do the back stitching as I go. I noticed that in this pattern, though, it calls for some blending, blending threads. And I have never, okay. So it calls for some Krynic, which I've used Krynic before. Okay, and then it calls for Krynic red blending filament. I've never used that before. So I don't have either of those. So I think I'm gonna have to order that. But I haven't come across, you know, I haven't needed it yet in the stitching, but I will have to order it. But let me tell you, these patterns are no joke. I have a whole box of floss bobbins. I mean, a whole box. And this isn't even all the colors. I've got several here that I need to bobbinate still, but this is not even all the color. I've just pulled a few, you know, pulled the ones that I needed, but I don't even keep this in a project bag, because I just stack it, because it's a monster. But I'm enjoying it. I love stitching. I'm enjoying each stitch, and I'm not in a hurry. You know, if it gets done for this Christmas, great. If not, that's fine too. But at the end of the day, she will have a stocking. So yeah, so she's seen it and she loves it, and you know, it's just one of those. Some Flosstubers they stitch a Christmas stitch on the 25th of each month, and I love that idea. So maybe I'll do that, and before you know it, that'll be done. So I worked on that. I'm not sure how long, but I did work on that along with my Sal. Let me set that down. Okay, so what else? So this next one is for my older daughter, Caitlin. She is getting married in November. So I've been working on this sampler for her. She's a stitcher. She does enjoy stitching. She's busy. She's a nurse, but when she has time, usually in the evening, she loves to crochet. She loves to stitch. And so I think right now she's, you know, isn't that funny with crafts? Don't you kind of go through phases? Right now she's going through a crochet phase. So, you know, whenever there's free time, she's picking up that hook and yarn and crocheting, and she's made a beautiful blanket for their home, their soon to be home. And she's just going, and she's trying to pick up knitting, you know, so she's really into that right now. But she's also a stitcher, and you know, she's got a stitch going right now. And when she comes again, we'll have to get her on here and she'll share that with you guys. I know she will. But she is a stitcher, and so I know she will appreciate this sampler. But it's a Teresa Kogut, and I showed it before on here. Let Love Rain, and this is the pattern right here by Teresa Kogut. And I've stitched a little bit on that. I'm trying to make it my focus piece just because I want to have it done. I want to have it done well before her wedding, so it's not, you know, it's not extra stress. But let's see, there are a few things I need to talk about on this one. Let's see. So this is where I'm at. I'll just show you that for right now. And this, most recently, I think this is what I have finished right here. This little potted plant. Actually, I don't think I'm finished with it. No, that's the one I've been working on most recently. But as I was stitching on this, I noticed the 3 flowers over here, right here, this one, I made a mistake in the colors. Instead of a brown ring right here, it's supposed to be a black, like these two down here. And I don't know if I'm gonna take it out and restitch it or not. I don't mind it like this, but it's just the continuity of having all 3 of these flowers black might look a little better. But and then up here, these houses, I've mentioned this before, but just in case this is the first time you're seeing it, these houses are supposed to be a yellow, more of a yellow color. And oh, come on, focus. I don't know why it's not focusing. There we go. Anyway, and I stitched in blue. I don't know what I was thinking, but stitched in blue, and I'm not taking them out. But I am changing the window casings over on this house. You can see are white, and on the other one they're a light, almost like a tan. So I am going to take the tan color out and switch it out to the white. It just brightens it up a little bit. So I don't know, to balance it out, there is a bigger house that goes down here. Let me show you the pattern again. And it's blue, so I might change it. I don't know. I was gonna say I might change that bigger house to yellow, but her dress is yellow. I don't know. This bigger house right here, I could change that one to yellow, but the lady's dress is yellow, so I don't know if that would be. What are your thoughts? Maybe you can comment down below. Should I just keep this house blue and have 3 blue houses? If I changed her dress blue, it would be too close to him. I don't know. There aren't a whole lot of colors in here to play with. And I tell you what, color, to me, changing colors is it's a little daunting, because it's almost like a chain reaction. You know, if you change one color here, then you end up having to change a lot more than just the one color. I wanted to show you the threads though that I'm using. I'm using all the called for. I'll get my little board. But it's mostly DMC, as you can see, mostly DMC colors, but then it calls for 2 overdyed. Onyx is the black, and then Oscar is the green. So it's a pretty color palette, but there isn't a whole lot to pick from for changes. So Let me know what you think. Should I keep that larger house? I haven't gotten to it yet, obviously, but I'm starting to think about it. So when I do get to it, I know what to do. Oh, I didn't tell you the fabric. So I did not have the called for fabric, and I wasn't sure. I knew I wanted something modeled, but Grandma's Slip XJU design is the fabric. And I didn't have that. And I was looking on Instagram and I found someone had stitched this and had done it on Verdal. And it's 40 count marbled hazelnut hand dyed Verdal by XJU Designs. I don't know if you've ever used Verdal before, but Verdal is very soft. It's a very soft linen. Well, is it a linen? Hand dyed Verdal. Comment, tell me, is it a linen or is it something else? It's an even weave, but it's very soft, and I just love, let me hold the whole thing. I love the modeled, and it's pretty, what it's showing on camera is pretty close to what it is. But yeah, I loved it so much when I saw it. And that's the thing, I know what I like when I see it, but sometimes if I don't see it, it's hard to know. I don't know. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Oh, I want to talk to you about this hoop. I do not know. It doesn't have a name on it anywhere. So I love Nerge hoops. Maybe you do too. If you do, comment and let me know. I love Nerge hoops. I love the tension that it gives to the fabric. But this one, maybe it is a Nerge, but Nerge will usually say on it. But this hoop just holds, maybe somebody will be able to tell just by looking at it. There's an actual screw right here, and you can tighten it with this thing. But I mean, I love it. It's out of all of the hoops I have, it holds the fabric the most taut. And this is my, I have to show you, I think I've showed this bag before. It's another Dot Dot Goose bag. And you know what, I'm just going to take a minute and put this all back in here so that it's not a disaster when I'm done with you. So have you commented? Did you share what you are stitching on and what your beverage of choice is? Don't forget, I'm very interested in all of those little details. Oh, and have you ever used one of these? You probably have. Have you ever used one of these? So they're stretchy and they're magnetic and they're just nice to hold you can roll your fabric up and just, you know, clip that on and it keeps it out of the way. That is a recent purchase of mine. Boy, I'm fitting a lot in this bag. Just keep loading it up. All right, so yes, I worked on that for a little bit. Not very much. You can tell I just got one of those little potted plants really done and stitched on it long enough to realize that I'd made a mistake in the coloring, but what are you gonna do? And then the last one, let me make sure. Yeah, the last one is a new start. I guess technically my Sal was a new start too, but this one's a new start that I wasn't even considering doing. And then sometimes when you work on large projects, don't you just sometimes need a palette cleanser, just something small to be able to finish and see a finish. So I just need that from time to time. So this is a recent purchase, this pattern, but it's Summer Trio by Brenda Gervais with I Needle and Thread. And when I went to the store, and it was not my typical L&S that I went to, but when I went, they had two of these. They had the spring one and the summer one. So I don't know, I think I stood there for a good long while and just could not decide. And finally I decided on the Summer Trio, but they're both beautiful. I haven't seen the fall or the winter. I'm sure she's got them out, or maybe this is new, I don't know. But so I started on this pillow right here, the one in the center. Hello Summer. I'm planning on doing all three, and I want to finish them as pillows and put them in a dough bowl or some sort of bowl or basket and display them that way. But this, so I'm doing it on, so I ordered a bunch of Cedar River linen recently. I had a gift card from Christmas and I ordered it. And my daughter's been stitching on Cedar River Arboreal, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful color. But this one is Albarium. It's a 40 count Albarium Cedar River linen. And you guys, it killed me to pull this out and stitch on it because it was such a big, beautiful piece. And I just thought, that needs a sampler. It needs a sampler. I don't want to cut into it. But the color was perfect for these little pillows. And also these little pillows aren't going to take very much. So I thought I'm going to go ahead, but it was painful. It was literally painful because it's just such a beautiful piece of linen. I mean, let me just show you my stitch and then I'll show you. So this is the stitch. And I still have a few things to do. I have a little bit of back stitching to do here, and then the word summer is going to go down here. But oh, isn't it just so cute? I just love it. And I did not use all of the called for only because I didn't have them. So I pulled from Stash for some of these, but I wanted to share with you. So Dirt Road, it calls for Dirt Road, which is a week's. And I had a little bit of Dirt Road. I think I may have used it all. I had a little bit. I had enough to do the word hello. That's done in Dirt Road. You can see there. But I didn't have enough to do summer. So I went ahead and pulled DMC 612. It's a pretty close one. I think it'll be fine on there. So it'll say hello summer. And then I didn't have Teal Frost. It calls for Weeks Teal Frost. And it also calls for Classic Colorworks Blue Corn. I didn't have either of those. So I went ahead and substituted out Brethren Blue. It's a Gentle Arts. It's really a pretty, pretty blue. But I went ahead and substituted this one out for those two colors. Let's see. There you go. Anyway, it's a very pretty blue. But anyway, let me show you this. You guys, this big, beautiful piece of linen. Look. Doesn't that just need a sampler? But honestly, because I think I can fit all three of these little pillows across here and then have the rest of this to use for a sampler. So I'm not too sad about it. And it was the perfect, I mean, I went through the fabrics that I have, and I have quite a bit of scraps, but I wanted all three pillows to be on the same linen. So anyway, that was a new start, and I'm hoping to at least get that first one done. But these are the beautiful, I mean, just fun. Oh, I did switch out something else. What was it? Oh goodness. Oh, it calls for DMC 22, and I didn't have that. So I did a little Google search, and they said DMC 326 is a good substitute for DMC 22. So, and in the stitch I just did, I don't know if you can see that the strawberries there are two colors. And so the 326 is the darker red. But I just think it looks, I compared it to the front cover too, and it just looked very, very similar. Oh, and these right here. Oh, you guys, these were so fun. I love to do the extra fun. These were Smyrna crosses. These little those little berries right there, and there are more down here. But I just enjoy so much doing those specialty stitches, the Smyrna crosses, and this one also calls for Lazy Daisy, which is fun to do. And the Algerian eyelets, I just love to do all of those. And they're not hard, you know, you just follow the steps, or you look on YouTube and figure it out. But this has been just a fun short project, something to cleanse your palette, to at least give you a finish, you know, something that you can look at and say, I can finish a stitch. It is possible. Anyway, oh, I forgot to show you the bag, and I'm not sure. I think, have you showed you this before? It doesn't have a name on it. This is not a dot dot goose. I don't know who that is, but anyway. Gotta put this in there too. Where are we on things? Okay, so we've done, the tags inside. LakeWindStudio.com. Lake Wind Studio is the maker of this bag. And you can see inside there, it's just little chicken wire. And then the gingham there is sweet. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so those were all my WIPs. Those are all the things I've worked on in the last couple of weeks. So, and you know, I'm glad I could work on, you know, all those different stitches, but I gotta say, I'm one of those people who gets very comfortable working on my one stitch, and I love seeing the progress of it. So to jump around is getting out of my comfort zone, but that's okay. It's okay to get out of your comfort zone from time to time. But it's been fun. I mean, you know, it's definitely fun. I love all the stitches and all the stitching. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed those. Please subscribe and tell me what you've been working on. Share that with all of us. I'm sure we'd love to hear about that. And I don't know, is it possible to put a picture with your comment? Because then you could show your progress, and that would be so cool. Anyway, all right. And so one of you, like I said, I love reading the comments. And I had a subscriber, so I told a story. I don't remember what Flosstube it was. Oh, I think it was the last one with Annalisa. We were talking about frogs, and I have not had frogs and I don't have a good relationship. So I don't mind lizards, spiders, roaches, palmetto bugs. Give them to me. I don't mind. A frog or a toad? No. That's where we draw the line. Anyway, one of my subscribers, her name is J Forster 95. She wrote a fun little story. She just shared something that happened in their family. She said, "What a fun episode with your daughter. We moved to Virginia when our son was 5, and we were unloading boxes at our new house, and our son called down and said there was a frog on the toilet." Surprise. What a surprise. We thought he was kidding, but sure enough, there was one right on the toilet edge between the seat and the base. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine. Anyway, I love your comments. So leave them, and some of them make me chuckle, and some of them are just so interesting because, like I said, I love to look up those patterns that you're working on. Speaking of patterns, I found another freebie on Instagram, and I wanted to share it with you. It's beautiful, and I can't even believe it's a freebie, but it is. The Instagram name that posted it is Valdani_threads, and it's called Little Quaker ABC by Susan Aki, I think is how you pronounce her name. But it's a beautiful freebie. If you enjoy samplers, it's beautiful. I think it's bigger than it seems, though. At first glance, I thought it was a small sampler, but I think it's a little bit bigger. But it would be, and it's so colorful. There are so many different colors in it, but you could do it in, goodness, shades of one color or whatever. Anyway, that's a freebie for you. Valdani_threads is the name of the Instagram, of the Instagrammer. On to plans. I'm planning on continuing to work on the things I showed you today, and just make progress on those, especially Caitlin's sampler, Teresa Kogut, Let Love Rain. I really need to make some progress on that. I feel like if I can complete, let me pull that out, just a visual is so helpful. What do they say? A picture is worth 1,000 words. If I can complete, you guys, do you see my new finish up there? Right up there. That's my new Gentleman's Daughter. It's so fun to add it to your wall. Oh, so fun. But looking at this, so my plan for this one in particular, I'm on this row right here. So I for sure want to finish that row and maybe bring the border down on both sides. That really is, that's my goal for these next couple of weeks anyway on this one. And this one is the one I'm stitching on right now, actually. So this evening I'll go out and work on it a little bit more. But I also want to, put some more stitches in each of those that I showed you, each of those whips, and just see some progress there. But I also thought, how fun would it be, since I just participated in my very first SAL, back to homeroom SAL. I thought, oh, maybe I could put on a SAL and you guys would love to join me. And so I thought a summertime SAL, excuse me, I'm a teacher. And so I get most of my stitching done in the summertime. And the first day of summer is June 21st, technically. And so I thought, well, maybe if I share it with you now and you'd like to join me, it would give you enough time to get your supplies. And so the summertime SAL that I'd love to do with you is called Summer ABCs by Little House Needleworks. And, oh dear, let me take that out of the plastic. I've done the others. She has a fall, a winter, and a spring, and I've done those. I think I showed you the spring one in a different Flosstube. Time for another sip of coffee here. I've seen those mugs that you put, the base plugs in somewhere, I think, or it's rechargeable, but you put your mug on a base and it keeps it warm for you. Because I'm one of those people, I like my coffee piping hot, unless I'm having iced coffee, which there's a time and a place for that too. Which do you like? Which do you prefer? Iced coffee or hot coffee? Comment down below. Now listen, if it's hot outside and you want to drink your coffee outside, you gotta have an iced coffee. There's just no way around it. Anyway, Annie and I have been having a lot of that. She likes to go to these coffee shops, and so sometimes we'll do a coffee crawl. We'll go to St. Pete or whatever and just look up different coffee shops and try them. And we went to one the other day. What was it called? Hey, Dan. He would know. Doug's, I want to say. I can't remember. Maybe he'll put it in here. My husband does all my editing, so maybe he'll put it in here, the name of that coffee shop. But it was in Tampa, and we went yesterday. My daughter, looked it up online, and we just put the address in and went. It's so fun. You just never know what what to expect, and sometimes you find a gem. And so we'll go. And so Annie and I have been drinking a lot of iced coffees because the weather has gotten quite warm here, but it's been fun. I love it. I love to have a buddy to go do things like that with. Anyway, back to the SAL. I don't know how I got off of that, but it's called Little House Needleworks Summer ABCs. And this is the picture. And it's just so sweet. It really is. It's long, but it's narrow, so it won't take much time at all to do. So if you have this pattern, or you want to join along, maybe you can get it. And I just went and got, the very same day I went and got the threads for, I'm so sorry, the threads for the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know what's happening. I picked up some of this fabric, and I don't know what kind of fabric it is. It was not labeled, but it is a 36 count. I know for sure, and I chose it because it looked similar to what was on the pattern itself, which the pattern calls for Winter Brew, R&R Winter Brew, 32 count. I got a 36 count, so it'll be a little bit smaller, but looked pretty similar to that. It's not showing correctly on the screen, but that's what I got, and then I went ahead and got some flosses for it too. They're just so pretty, so pretty. Pine Needles, Classic Colorworks, Blushing Beauty, Gingerbread. All of these are Classic Colorworks. Cherry Tomato, Honeycomb, Wagon Wheel, Hickory Sticks. So those were some of the colors there. So if you'd like to join me, I would love that. It would be so fun to stitch together. And like I said, I'd like to start it on June 21st. And other than that, there are no rules. There are no, just share your progress on Instagram. I'm the Elementary Stitcher on Instagram. You can tag me in it and just hashtag Summertime Sal. That's what we'll call it. And I would love it. I would love it if you joined me. That would be such a fun thing. So that is also hopefully part of my plan. Well, no, because June 21st is a ways away, but it will be hard not to start that. That's going to be a fun one. And I really think it'll go quickly. The others did. When I did winter and spring and fall, they went quickly. So quickly that I slowed down a little bit because I wanted it to last longer. But anyway, so yeah. So I want to share with you too a little bit of haul. So I told you my daughter and I love to go thrifting together. And sometimes thrifting, sometimes you find stuff, sometimes you don't. But I always go check out the frame section, because you just never know what you might find. And so I found a frame. And I'm going to show it to you here. It was $2.99. But look at the pretty edging on this. I just thought and it's just such a different kind of a size, but I'll be able to use that for something. $2.99. And you know what? I'm going to keep the tag on there. It's just so fun to find a bargain. Okay, last Flosstube we did a giveaway for this pattern, Heartstrings Samplery. Or, sorry, Coffee Quaker by Heartstrings Samplery. And we have a winner. Are you ready? Drum roll. And I showed you the finished in the last Flosstube. So if you'd like to see the finished product, go look at the last, I think it was the last Flosstube that I showed you the finish of that one. I finished it and we keep it right on our coffee bar, right next to our coffee. And it's a fun one. There's a Flosstuber that I wanted to, before I tell you who won, I'm just going to drag it out a little longer. There's a Flosstuber she started about the same time I did. And her name is Rushing Rabbit Studio. Rushing Rabbit Studio. I'll put it down below. But her name is Gretchen. And she and I seem to have the same style. And we've talked back and forth a little bit. But she wrote a comment. Oh man, I wish I had written it down. She wrote a comment that if she were to stitch this, it would say, first I drink the coffee, then maybe I do the things, or I might do the things. It was something to that effect. But I thought that was cute. But if you haven't checked out Gretchen on Rushing Rabbit Studio, I believe it's Studio. I'll double check on that. But she's got some wonderful, beautiful finishes, and she's a quilter too. And just she hangs her quilts in the back, and it's such beautiful eye candy. But she's a model stitcher as well, so she does that, and she makes bags. And she did say that if I remember right, she said she was planning on selling some of her bags. So, they're just beautiful, just beautiful. But this is the stitch one more time for the giveaway. And the person who is the lucky winner that gets to stitch this is Gwen Stanley, 7527. Congratulations, Gwen. Gwen wrote, I think your coffee time together was a wonderful idea. She's talking about in her comment, she's talking about, so Annie, when Annie was about in 8th grade, we would walk home together from school, and we just lived down the road from school. And we would get home, and Annie would put on a pot of coffee. I'd take a quick shower, and then we'd sit down together and have our coffee talk, is what we came to call them. But it was just a catch-up time. You know, what were your highs? What were your lows? And just a time to talk and look in each other's eyes and listen. And it was wonderful. We loved it. And it just happened, you know, it just became our tradition. And even through, you know, COVID, we would still do it. And she's gone off to college, and we still, you know, every once in a while we'll get on FaceTime and have our coffee talk, and it's wonderful. And my other kid, we all do it from time to time, but it's just that one-on-one talking. So she's referring to that in her comment. I think your coffee time together was a wonderful idea. And then Gwen recommended for Annie to look at Primrose cottage designs. She suggested that as a summertime stitch for Annie, and she said they're fun and small, and they are. I love Primrose cottage designs, and the funny thing is, Annie has said how much she loves the name Primrose, and someday when she gets married and has a little girl, she'd love to name her Primrose and call her Prim. And I thought, oh, that's sweet. And Primrose Cottage, you mentioned that, and she said, Annie said Primrose and Penelope. She loves both of those names. Anyway. Oh, so fun. Well, congratulations, Gwen. Go ahead and send me an email, and you can give me your details, and we'll get that sent out to you just as soon as possible. Okay, and then I do have another giveaway. So a while ago, I showed you this stitch. It's called Chubby Bird by Jeanette Douglas. And I haven't finished it yet, as you can tell. Well, the stitching is done, but I haven't. I did this on gingerbread, I believe. And I don't know the name of the company, but gingerbread was the name of the fabric. Anyway, I have that pattern for you. It's just a little pattern. It wouldn't take you long to do, and it's just very sweet. So if you are interested in this pattern, in this giveaway, I thought about having you write a comment with the word bird, right? Because it's called Chubby Bird. But I would rather you write a comment with the word chubby. If you want this, if you would like to enter in that giveaway, leave a comment with the word chubby in your comment, and you will be entered for that giveaway. And I'll let you know next time who the lucky winner is. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me and listening to my chatter about stitching. It is so fun to talk about with people who enjoy it too. So I hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks, and get a lot of stitching done, make a lot of memories with your family. I imagine if you have children, they're probably home from school, and just enjoy them. I tell you what, the time goes by so quickly. And when you're in the midst of it, you just don't realize it. I didn't. You know, somebody told me once, what was it they said? The days are long, but the years are short. And that is so true. That is so true. sometimes when you're in the thick of it, you think, oh, how am I going to survive? But enjoy your time with your kids this summer. When our kids were little, younger, elementary school, we had a friend group in our church, and there were probably, I think there were 5 families. And so us moms would get together once a week, and we would take all of our kids and we would go do something fun, whether it was, strawberry picking, or we lived in Kansas City at the time, so there weren't really beaches, but you could go to the YMCA would open up their pool if it was over a certain degree, if the temperature was over a certain degrees. And so we do that. We go bowling, we go to the park, we take a picnic lunch, but once a week we would all get together and go do something out of the house, away. And it was fun. My kids still talk about that to this day. But it was just so fun. And some of them were friends from church, and some of them were friends from school. And it was also nice because they kept in touch with their friends over the summer. And it was fun. We'd usually pack a lunch and just go. And it would be all morning. And we'd get home in time, we'd get home around 1 or 2 usually. But it was so fun. So I encourage you to spend time with your little ones, because boy, does it go fast. And then before you know it, they're in college and getting married, and you think, how did this happen? It just does. The days are long, but the years are short. Yeah, that's the saying. Anyway, I've enjoyed our time together. Enjoy your stitching, get a lot done, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.